quickly you've had to park what's happened on Saturday. I know you'll have had reflections, but how important is it to put that in your mind now heading into this game against Falkirk?
Yeah, it's important. It's important to move on quickly. This is the benefit of a game coming so quickly, that you've got the opportunity to try and rectify that defeat so quickly. But you can't just sweep it under the carpet and not look back and not address areas in which we looked at it. So we've done that as well. That was important to do that. I think it's always about how you can improve, how you can learn from situations we found ourselves in. So we've done that as well. And I think quickly just you move on to Falkirk, which will be another difficult test, different type of test as well, against a team that's experienced a lot of success recently, back-to-back promotions and keeping the group together, and they've got that winning mentality that have stood them so well for a couple of seasons now. So the challenge is there again. It's not going to be an easy fixture by any means, but it's one that domestically is an opportunity for us to try and strengthen our league position.
And as frustrating as exiting the Cup will be, does that frustration have to turn to motivation tomorrow? Is that the right way to look at it? Yeah,
I think it's just important that we, after a defeat, you need to stick together. You need to, as I've just said, look at the areas to improve from there. But how quickly things can change again in a positive way. If you go and get 3 points tomorrow night, you're then looking at it in isolation and go, well, that would be 9 points after 5 games, sitting third in the table. Certainly not a disaster. It'd be a good start, and then you can always look at games and say maybe should have picked up points here, could we be better there. But you can't affect things that have happened previously. You need to always look forward and look how you can keep improving.
And Saturday aside, your home form's been excellent this season. What do you put that down to, and how tricky is it the next 3 games for you are away against, yes, a promoted side, but then Celtic and Hearts too? Yeah, it's difficult. I said it before the game, going to Ibrox, we had to be at our very best to try and win the game, to give us the best chance to win the game. Unfortunately, we weren't quite, and I thought Rangers were good on the day, clearly, as you've seen from the fixture, but we've went away to difficult venues and our away form's been good. It'll need to be very good again tomorrow. But whether you're playing teams home or away, I think this league has already shown that our home form was excellent. If you look at how many games in the last, 3 defeats in 29 games, and domestically in the league campaign is a very good return. But this season at home, we've not won the games maybe I think you would have. So every game's very difficult. This league is very challenging, as you've already seen, and there's no game that's a gimme, that's for sure. And on that, given that it is Celtic, then Hearts away, does this game tomorrow become even more important that you get those 3 points?
This game's even more important. It's the biggest game because it's the next one. I'm not looking beyond tomorrow night at all. I know it's a cliche thing to say and an easy thing to say, but it certainly is the most important thing, because as I've just said, if you go and win tomorrow night, you're looking at the table very differently. You're sitting third after 5 games, and then you'd be looking at it saying it's a good start in areas in which we could maybe look at, maybe should have had points there, could have points here, it doesn't matter. The situation is what it is, and it'd be a good start to the season.
And how key is it, you might have wanted more wins domestically at this point in the season, but how important is what happened last season to how you react now? You've been through difficult periods, not that it's the same, but this time last year, what has that taught you when you look ahead to these games?
Yeah, I think you're always looking at that. The bulk of the squad's been through that adversity, like you've touched on. The start we made last season versus this season already is significantly different, I think. And you get a feeling from the players all the time, and I think that's something I've always had. Is I say that even after the game, yes, we didn't play to the levels we had, and the boys are really disappointed not to be in the next round of the Cup, but it shows you how far the groups came as well, that they actually did believe that you could go along to Ibrox and get into the next round of the Cup. So the disappointment's there. It's now about the challenge is how do you react from that, and how do you then turn that feeling and that frustration, but sticking together, working on the areas, and then making sure you turn it into a positive.
On that note, how are the group, managing that weight of expectation that came with last year's success?
I think it's something that we talked about at the very start of the season. As soon as, off the back of what we've done last year, it was always going to be that the expectation starts to rise, and then when you start to see how we performed in Europe at times against some top sides, people say a lot of good things about you, and I think that's natural when it happens, but then the expectation rises, everything else. But I've always said that right along, the group is a good group. They are a very humble group that are hard working and want to improve all the time, and that's something that as a coach is brilliant to work with, and I think it makes sure the players keep their foot on the ground as well, because they're not thinking they've completed it at all. We're right back in looking at why we felt we didn't get the right result at the weekend and how we can try and put that right on Tuesday, and I think that's a good habit to get into.
And you mentioned it's a different type of match tomorrow, but what kind of challenge are you expecting from Falkirk?
It'll be really difficult. I just touched on it there about they've been a group that's been together for a while, and been very successful for a couple of seasons, but back-to-back promotions. You know, that's very difficult to do. I know the coach well, very good coach. Actually coached me as a youngster, so I think shows you how experienced he is. You know, he's well and knows exactly what's going on. And they've started well already this season. You can see that they've got good players all over the pitch that can hurt you. And I think added to that, you've got to go and contend with the AstroTurf. And that's something that the players have done it already this season going to Livingston. It's not an excuse. You're ready for it. Everybody knows that going into the game. And it's a game we can look forward to. Falkirk have a team that have not been in the Premier League for a couple of seasons. It's good to have them back because they're certainly adding to it. And I'm fully expecting a real tough night and an atmosphere that'll be exciting because I know we'll take our numbers right through and sell that out, and I believe Falkirk fans will do the same. So it'll be solid making of a good game.
And excuse me, ignorance, where did you work with John McGlynn before, and what type of coach was he back then?
Yeah, he was, when I was a youngster growing up, coming through at Hearts, he was one of the coaches at Hearts when I played through there. So it was a while ago, so it shows you how long he's been doing it, which is obviously a testament to him and how much he loves the game, but also how much he's been in it for such a long time.
And last question from me, what's your team news for tomorrow night? Has everyone come through Saturday unscathed?
Yeah, a few bumps and bruises, nothing major we don't think, which is good, positive from that front, and there's nobody really returning to the squad, so the squad will be as is. And I think that's about it. It's obviously good for young Rudy to get some minutes for the first time in a wee while. He's not played off the back of his injury, so there is a lot of competition, and that's another thing that I think is healthy moving forward, that players know they need to be at the very top of their game, or there is people that are able to step in and take their place if that's what we deem is the best thing for the team.